few years ago, I got a call from the Financial Times to photograph the great author and scholar Claudia Rankine because she was doing a production of some sort. I think it was somebody was adapting one of her writings to a play, or was she writing the play? I'll find out. Either way, I was tasked to photograph her, and I was given this commission by the Financial Times London. They hit me up. They emailed me. They were like, "We need you to photograph Claudia Rankine. Here's her address." I got in contact with her. We spoke. I did some research on her because I do that with everybody who I'm supposed to photograph. Really liked her writing, really got into it. So, I started to get very excited about the shoot because I was like, she was like right in line with my ideal subject, which is a black intellectual at the top of their field. So I did the shoot, went to her house. We immediately hit it off. She was like super cool, very nice. We were just talking about art and perspective and race and politics and everything like that. It was like as good as an interaction with a person that you're photographing can be. During this time, I'm shooting film, right? I'm shooting on my Mamiya RZ67, and I'm also using a shutter release. Okay, if you don't know what a shutter release is, that's the little trigger that's hooked to the wire. You screw it into the shutter and you press the button, and it presses the shutter for you. If you are shooting with film on an editorial shoot, you should always have a digital camera as a backup because with film, you never know what happens. Film is physical. You have to actually physically take it to a processor or process it yourself. The bottom line is it's a physical material and it can be destroyed. It can be dropped. It can be, anything can happen. So when you're dealing with a commissioned job, somebody is actually paying you to bring back photos so they can be published. That's a lot of responsibility as far as, you have to come away with the shot. Sidebar, she even gave me a pair of flip flops. She was like, "What size shoe you wear?" And I was like, "I'm a 12." And she was like, "Oh, okay. We'll see if you can fit these." And then she goes in the back. She brings back some Suey Coke flip flops. They're like special edition Suey Coke slide-ons. So I try them on. They fit perfectly. And she was like, "They're yours." I bought them for my husband. They don't fit him. They like run a little small, for he has a bigger foot. So, here you go. You can have them. To say the least, it was going really good. Everything is going well. So I am not as in tune with the photos as I should be. Being the director, being the photographer, I'm just sort of like talking and like soaking everything in and taking pictures, okay? Which is a bad move. I think I took maybe 2 or 3 frames on the digital camera just to test the light out and verify that my exposure was right with the light and everything. And it was, so I went back to shooting film. Shoot went well. We said our goodbyes, everything like that. And I left, jumped on the train, and I headed back to Brooklyn where I was living at, where I still live at. I immediately went to the film lab, okay? Because typically I would develop my own film, but for this is a editorial job, so I wanted to make sure that there was no hiccups or, eliminate as much risk as possible. Dropped the film off. I went to a coffee shop for like an hour, and I went back. The person who handed me the film basically like looked at the manager and sort of like shook their head. I didn't really pick it up immediately, but I picked it, later on. I was like, oh, okay, it added up. They handed me the film. I go home, I hop on the train, I go home. Actually, before I go home, I pull out the film from the bag, to look at the negatives. And when I look at the negatives, they're blank. I don't have to scan these negatives to know that they're blank. It has nothing on it. There's no image. I have a bit of a dilemma on my hands because I'm like, oh my God, I have no photos. Then I think back, I'm like, I only took 3 frames on the digital camera, and I have the digital camera on me. But again, the conversation was going so well that I was not locked in like I was supposed to be, and I wasn't switching back and forth. I should have been going, take some frames with the RZ67, and then you go back and you take some frames with the digital camera just to make sure that you have everything, and then you have to do it in a seamless way because a photo shoot is also like a performance. You have to look like you know what you're doing, and not only that, but if anything comes in the way or anything sort of looks like it's messing you up, you have to be able to act like there's nothing going wrong and everything is the way that you intended it to be. Again, I've already noticed at this point that there are no frames on the film. It was just, I had nothing. Okay. I had nothing. At this point, it's probably 2.5 to 3 hours later. All right. So I have to literally call Miss Rankin and explain that the photos that I took on the photo shoot did not come out because I was shooting film. I didn't shoot digital. Now I have nothing. What I said was like, please may I have 15 additional minutes of your time. I'll come down there now. I have my digital camera. I will shoot what I need and I will get out of your way. She was actually meeting with her assistant at the time, and she had to tell her assistant, I guess she had to like end the meeting with her assistant early for me to photograph her. So that even made it even worse. Like that made me feel even worse because now I'm like being an inconvenience, which I was already an inconvenience that I had to come back. But yeah, it was just, and on top of that, all of the rapport that I had built from the first shoot, all gone. That was all done. This second shoot was just like quiet, and I didn't even really direct her much. I just like put her in a seat, and I took some photos, and I got up out of there pretty quickly. I only took up, I asked for 15 minutes. I think I might have taken 10, and I got the shot. But looking at that photo, I can tell I can see the stain in the shot. Like it's not like the shots that I would have had that were on the film that didn't come out. Those shots were, they looked like the environment that they were taken in, which was a very good productive environment. We were just vibing and everything was on point. But, that's the lesson is you can't just focus on vibes. You got to get the job done when it comes down to it. You are there to take pictures or do whatever it is that you do. You there to do a job. You can't get caught up. And I got caught up. Never do that. Message. This is right outside the crib. Oh boy, what's good? I hate these city bikes. Came out here to Smorgasborg on Prospect Park. See what's what. See if I can get me some drinks and some food or something, I managed to locate my people. They on the other field, but it is way too hot out here. I gotta get something to drink first before I go meet up with them. My man David, they out here chilling. Let's see what we got in the form of beverages. All right, lemonade. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm lost as and I live by this park, but can't mess around with Prospect Park for real. I made a turn down one of these lefts and ended up on some trail. I had to keep going, couldn't even turn back. Now I am near a baseball field. I've never even been out here on this part of the park, so we'll figure it out. They sent me a map, but
I can't find it on this map.
I can read a road map, but a walking map, not so much. Got a little baseball game going on over here. And yeah, hopefully I find my people before I freaking melt. It's so hot out here. All right, so the good news is I know where I'm at. The bad news is I walk way past where they are. And now I'm on the whole other side of the park. So I gotta walk back all the way through the park in order to find them. Hey, I might not even find them. I'm gonna just keep it 100. But we headed that way. I'm pretty far. I got my steps in though. All right, after 2 miles and careful consideration, I have come to the conclusion that I am not going to find them. And I'm about to head home. Well, probably get something to eat first and then I'm heading. But I'm leaving this park. It's too hot. I've been with made people. I am emerging from my savagery. I have been in an apartment for a week now by myself because wifey went to D.C. to go see Beyonce with her mom and with her sister. You know, shout out to my ladies. Happy birthday, Mama Vivian. So wifey's gone, and I've been just here in the dungeon making work. I made a video not too long ago about my watermelon series that I'm working on, the Watermelon Reclamation Project, where I'm reclaiming the watermelon. A good friend of mine hit me up. He was like, yo, I want that painting, but I know I can't afford it, so I want to get a print. Made him a print, decided, oh, wait, you know, maybe other people want a print, so let me just go ahead and do a print sale. Sold a couple prints. It made me think a lot about creative ways as far as what to do with the work. How do you get it out there? How do you market it? How do you monetize it? You know, a while back, I was working with my boys who have a startup, you know, called Ball Star. They handle like the stats for different street ball tournaments in New York and DC and all kinds of places. When I first came to New York, I was doing a lot of content for them, making images, going to basketball courts, going to games, photographing the games, documenting, and things like that. One summer, we were at the what's the court? What is Conrad McRae? That's the name. Conrad McRae Park in Prospect Heights. It was a tournament going on. My man Nigel, shout out to Nigel. He noticed a little white guy on the court, and he noticed him by his camera because he was like shooting with a Leica. We was all shooting with like, you know, Canons and Fujis and stuff like that. We were all concentrating on the game. You know, he was actually pulling kids to the side and making portraits with them. You know, I went and introduced myself to the guy, started talking, struck up a conversation. He was super friendly. Turns out he was Ari Markopoulos, who was like an amazing photographer. He worked with Basquiat and Andrew Warhol and a lot of the dope artists from the 80s on up till today. He still, you know, he still works, he still does shows. So like soon as he gave me his name, like I like, you know, went to the side, pulled up his name, Googled who he was and everything like that and found out, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is somebody who I definitely need to know. Back to the story of creatives and artistry. We were all on the court documenting the court, trying to get like the action. Amateurs. Ari was, for the most part, he was pulling the best players, or not necessarily the best players, but the players that he saw something in. He was pulling them to the side and he was taking an intimate portrait with them. I noticed that, but it didn't really register at the time until maybe a few weeks later. Ari had printed out the photos of these players, he basically turned the fence of the basketball court into a gallery wall with all of these basketball players' picture side by side, getting their picture taken, and a month later, seeing it unexpectedly hanging in their neighborhood. All of us were making content. Ari was making art. If you have reached the end of this video, I appreciate you. Go ahead and like and subscribe so you can get all of the videos and stuff that I put out, and it'll help the channel. So appreciate it.